I would like all of you to start building some detail item families that you can start using in this project file. So I'm going to create two, one from scratch, which will be a bollard. So let's start with some bollards. So it doesn't matter what view you're in. I'm going to go to File, New, and here, File, New, Family, and this needs to be a detail item. So you want it metric detail item, metric detail item. Please note, if you don't see this information, please let me know so that we can fix this, because that means your libraries are not working correctly. So I'm going to go metric detail item. I'm going to press open. Okay, for this example, I'm just going to create a very basic bollard. Okay, for this exercise, I'm going to use a masking region. Now you'll notice that you don't have a lot of line work to work with. It will have heavy, light, but you want to categorize things so that you can control it in the project. So how do we do that? If we go to Manage and we go to Additional Settings, and I'll go to Line Styles. Okay, so Line Styles, I'm going to create a new line style where I can allocate the correct category. Okay, so Line Styles. Okay, I see this doesn't want to work. Okay, but if you go to Object Styles, okay, so at Object Styles, we're going to create a new subcategory, okay, and I'm going to call this bollard detail item. Okay, these will usually have a line weight of 2. Okay, I'm going to press Apply, press OK. Now, a bollard, it depends. Usually they come in different diameters, so I'm going to go and say in masking region, just remember I went to create and I created a masking region because I want this to mask information in the background. So I'm going to go to bollard, make sure that's my line work, and I'm going to make this a 150. Okay, so that'll be a 300 diameter. Okay, so it depends. Let's make this 75 for now. Okay, it depends. Bollards come in different witness sizes, so go and do your research, find the bollard that will work. I'm quite happy with the result, and I've worked around the center. What I'd also recommend you do is enable, so select the shape, go to Properties, and click Center Mark. Okay, this is quite important because you can use the Align tool, so Align. You can align objects to something so that they don't move. But what I can also do is I can select this dimension, for example, and I can make this dimension, I can make it a proper reporting parameter. So I can change this on the fly inside the project. So I'm going to call this rad for radius. Okay, so let's just make sure. Okay, so make a new one. I'm going to call this rad for radius. Okay, rad. It'll be in dimensions. I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to say I'm happy with that, and I'm going to finish the sketch. Okay, now I've got a bollard. Now if I go to the Modify tab at the top, and I go to, this is just telling you what category it belongs to, and now if I open up Family Types, I can add a type here, and I can call this, so type 1, or I can call this a 150 diameter. I can make a new one. I can call this 200 DIA. Okay, so now in Family Types, if I go to this type, so if I click on 150, I can leave that as is, but if I go to this one, I can change that to 100. Okay, press Apply. Now in your view, you will notice that this will change depending on the type that I select. So if I change this to 150 diameter, press OK, you'll notice that it will become smaller. So once you've created your bollard, you just need to make sure that it will be visible and it's on the correct category. So remember, if it's a masking region, you need to go and edit boundary and make sure that this is on the correct category, bollard. Okay, finish. Now I'm going to go and save this family, save as family, I'm going to put this in my families folder. Families, detail items, I'm going to call this bollard. Good. I'm going to load that into the project. Now I'm in, just make sure what view you're working in, site base, so press escape. You don't want to do that in that view. You're going to go to site location or site plan. So site plan, because we might have bollards. Now I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go to, architecture, annotate, component, and I'm going to go and find the bollard over here. Now I can simply drop this bollard into the view. Okay, remember at any point I can select all of these and then change its type to 200 diameter. Okay, but now you can see I've got some bollards. Okay, one last trick that I want to show you with the bollards. If I put this over the contour line, you see that it hides it. But if I change the draw order, so if I select this detail item and if I say send to back, you can make it be visible below that. But maybe for the bollards, you want that information above. So one last little trick when we're using this, we can use arrays. I like this function. I'm going to say last, I'm going to say constrain. So I can pick this bollard from there. How many numbers do you want? Last, I'm going to pick one from there to there. Good, so last. Now, if I finish the command, you'd see it gives you this weird dimension. If I say 5 bollards, you'll notice it'll give me 5 bollards in that line. Now what's great is if I move these bollards, you'll notice that it'll try and keep that repetition going wherever you go. So if you do a series of bollards, this is very quick to do. Okay, so I can move this bollard over here, and I can move this last one to the end. And remember, we're trying to stop cars, so you can go and specify how many of these you need here. 10 maybe, 10 bollards, and you can see I can drop in 10 bollards. That's quite a neat function. Just remember the array function it is hard to work with sometimes. Okay. Alright, so the last exercise now is we're going to open up AutoCAD and we're going to use an AutoCAD file to create a detail item. Okay, so it's a different type of workflow. So this is a detail item that you can use very quickly and create something quite simple and basic. So we're drafting. Just remember, if it's an array, they're part of a group now. Okay, this will become, it's telling you at the top it's a group. So if you go and select all instances in view, and I have to go to copy now, you can put this in another group, but if I go to copy and I go back to site location plan or site establishment plan, and I go to paste, align to current view, remember they'll drop in here as well. But they'll still be intelligent and they'll still use that same, let me explain that. That didn't do that, so let me explain what happened there. So in site plan, select all instances in view. Now you also need to select the dimension, the array dimension. Now you press copy. Now you go to site establishment plan, paste, align to current view. Now it maintains that. Okay, maintains that setting. So that's great to know. Okay, now the last thing, open up AutoCAD. Now remember, I've given you all a big library of AutoCAD families. I've given you a big library of AutoCAD libraries that you can use. Okay. Okay, so you're going to go and open. You're going to go and open those files I've given you. So OneDrive, just remember, you guys need to start linking this information to your own projects. So in AutoCAD, so remember AutoCAD blocks, open that. Okay, so how do we go and use this information to create detail items in Revit? Okay, so now there's going to be tons of information here that you can use. Okay, there is a workflow that you need to bear in mind. So there's cars, trees, people, okay, there's street lights, totally up to you. So if we go and see this work furniture, we want to use some of this information. Okay, so like the workbench, for example, the bicycles. Okay, Street lamps might have a different view from the top, so just bear that in mind. I want to use maybe this bench, for example. The first thing you need to do is start a new drawing. Make sure that the drawing is not started with a template that's empty. Okay, so with no other information. So if you go to Start and you go to New and you go and say Browse Templates, the best way to do this is use the AutoCAD DWG and press Open. So start a new blank drawing. Then you're going to go to the AutoCAD file, select the information, Control C, just like I've done here, Control C, and I'm going to go and remember the layer. It'll keep the layer, Control V, and here I'm just going to paste it anywhere and zoom in. Now you want to move this information, move as close to the center as possible. Okay, great. Now I can save this drawing. File, save as. I'm going to save this information on my desktop just for now because it doesn't matter. I'm going to say or furniture 1, totally up to you. Chair 1, okay, chair 1 or bench 1, chair 1. I'm going to press save. Okay, great. Now close AutoCAD. Now we're going to go back to File, New, Family, and we're going to go to Detail Item, Metric Detail Item. Okay, New Family. Just remember, if these tabs are getting quite full, what you need to do is you need to go to View and you need to close in Active Views. Okay, so close in Active Views. Okay, so we'll have this other little family bullet that we had open. You can close this now. Just remember, save the changes. Now, in this file, we're going to go to Insert, Import CAD. So we're going to go to Desktop. Okay, go to Desktop. Remember, this will be in millimeters. So here you're going to say millimeters. And you can keep everything as is, open. Okay, now it's imported this file into this location. Now there's a couple things that we're going to have to bear in mind here. Okay, so basically what I like to do is I might unpin this object and I'm going to explode this object, fully explode. What I like about this function, it actually brings in this category, this furniture layer, into the project. So if I go to Manage and I go to Object Styles, you'll notice that the furniture comes in. Usually furniture will be on a 2 layer and it'll be grayed out. This 1 is reserved for hatches only, so furniture will be on a line weight 2. Remember, that's line weights, whatever line weights are set to. And we use this grey color for now. Furniture is usually grayed out. Remember, it's not a primary item, it's a secondary item. Okay, so furniture. Here very quickly I can go and change the uppercase and lowercase. This is totally up to you. So furniture. Okay, so that was spelled incorrectly, so that's good to know. Furniture. Okay, so furniture, 2, press apply. Okay, so we've created a new category called furniture, and you will have noticed everything now is become part of this category. Just be careful not to explode too much information. So this has given me a series of line work, which is great. Now I need to make a masking region so that it hides certain information in the background. So I need to go to Create. So the umbrella, for example, the table, for example, I'm going to go and say Create Masking Region now. Now what's great is I can use a pick line tool very quickly sometimes. Now this is a little tricky. You'll have to get used to this. Okay, this will take a little bit of time to get right, so I'm going to do it myself and show you exactly how to do this correctly so that you get good results. Okay, very quickly. We're not using the rest of the line work. It's stuff that's not going to be hidden for now. So I'll do just that, do that. That's great. If I was clever, I could have used the same one again and again, but I'm just going to do this. Okay, there. I'll explain why I'm doing exactly what I'm doing. Okay, the results won't be that evident in this view. Okay, so So don't stress about this too much. Okay, good. So don't stress about this result at the moment. What I like to do now, this line work will become invisible. So you'll see that you've got an invisible layer, invisible line. So select everything and make sure that it's invisible. Okay. These invisible lines have a gray hue to them, just so that you can see them in this view, but they'll disappear once you put them in the model. Okay. So now select one bit of the line work, and I'm going to go isolate category. So now I can go and fix, so use a trim tool, so let's fix this information up quickly. Good. So here you just need to go and trim and make sure these are all closed loops, otherwise they don't work correctly. Okay, so this is very important, and you'll have a lot of bugs if this is not done correctly. So if I press tab now, it should be a series of closed loops. Switch off your line weight so you can see, so tab. Okay, there shouldn't be any open bits of line work, that's important. See, like that. So tab. Okay, there might be some holes. I'll need to see if there's any holes, but let's just double check. So trim. Trim. Okay, but this is quite easy to resolve. Once you've done a couple of these, you'll notice that these things will start working. Okay, trim that, so let's just see here. Okay, so trim that with that, trim that with that, trim that with that. Because sometimes AutoCAD files are drawn nice and neatly, sometimes they're not. Okay, good. So if I press finish now, and I go reset. So what happens sometimes if I go to hidden, and I switch this off, sometimes that masking region will not show. Some of the furniture in this view will disappear sometimes, so that does happen. Okay, so just remember that if that does happen, you can use this view and you can use the send to background. Okay, so in essence this should be send, edit, send to background. So send to background. Okay, technically this information should sit above. Okay, so let's hover again, fold region. So remember that was my masking region. You could also change that to a hatch, by the way. So if I tab, I could also use a hatched object over that. So if I went to manage, I can use a hatched object, so create. So if it was a filled region, for example, I could use a filled region with a certain type of hatch. So you can keep this invisible again, but yeah, whatever, filled region, brick, concrete. Likewise, if I press tab again, so tab. So that's found that full region. Here you just have to tab a couple times. You'll see that this works really well. Okay, so if I go finish now, so I could have this region over it as well as a hatched object as well. So totally up to you. Okay, but for now I'm happy with this result. I'm going to go file, save as family. I'm going to save this out in my families. Okay, I'm going to go to detail items because it's a detail item. I'm going to call this, so furniture 01. So if you are going to create more furniture, use correct categories to help you as well. Okay, I'm going to press save for now. Now I'm going to simply load this into my load into project. Now whatever view you were working on, just remember it will come into that view. Now if I pull this information in, you'll notice it will also sit above the contours. Okay, so just remember if you want that below your contours. But now I've got a whole lot of information that I can use to populate these views with. Okay, so this is very handy, and it's a very quick way to build up content, build your site contextual information very quickly. Okay, all right, so this is quite neat. The next thing I maybe want to show you is if you want to start pulling in some plants. Okay, so you can start using filled regions. So if I want to show like an area that's tiled over example, again in filled regions you can mask. Remember, you can use the invisible lines for this as well. Just be careful how you use this because sometimes you might lose the line work. So for now I'm going to use line weight 2. I might create a little area where people might sit. Okay, now in filled regions I can go and pick all types of paving. Okay, so in paving, Now you can see how well this will work. So here's my little paved area. Okay, my little paved area. Okay, so now the paving works really well. This works really well over it. Okay, so this is very neat how this works. Okay, so you can see my furniture sits above. Okay, these can be arrayed. You can use these, you can lock and align these. But in essence, I've created an area where this information will work quite nicely. Now remember, sometimes this doesn't work, so this object will need to be bring to front. Okay, then it hides because it depends. I drew that first. So what I usually do is I select the paving and I always send the paving to back. So send backwards. Send to back. Okay, now if I create this shape and I take it a bit further, you'll notice now that it's always in the background, and here's my furniture. I've got a tree over here. Okay, so this is quite a quick way to draft and create context in your file. So in the class today, please go and start populating this information, creating these tools so we can assist you establish your basement as well, so we can start working on that as well. Now, just remember, work with these things in groups. Okay, so if I select the fold region with, so select that. Very quick way, right click, select all instances in view. I love this. Then select that as well, so control. Now you can make these a group. So you're going to say option 1. Okay, so remember in this view this is option 2. If I go control C and I go to site plan, nothing there, paste, align to view. Okay, oh dear, site location plan, I don't think site establishment plan, I think those things didn't come in. So let's just say edit group, then we just say add, make sure that they were part of the group. No, they were. Okay, that's interesting. So in that view something's gone wrong. Site location plan, site plan, so maybe, so let's go to VG. So detail items, just make sure that maybe the layer is not off. Okay, that's interesting, wireframe. Okay, that should have come through. Oh, wait a minute, that's why. I didn't copy the group. So my apologies, site establishment plan. Remember this is part of a group, control C, site plan, paste, align to current view. Okay, now remember this is option 1. If you want to make a duplicate of this, you're going to go to edit type, duplicate, and you can call this option 2. Now in option 2, I can open this option 2 up, so edit the group. I can change this from paving to concrete or any other type of hatch work here. Okay, so you can use different types of hatch work, ortho crosswork, tiles, that's totally up to you. So if I use timber finish for example, let's maybe use concrete hatch for now, just for this example. Now in concrete hatch, you'll notice that's remained in this option, but if I go to site establishment plan, you would have noticed it's still, but they're different versions of the same group, and these groups are located right here at the bottom. Okay, so remember you can keep using these. Okay.